What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my Nashville apartment, and welcome to a slightly svelter version of Grady. I'm down 16 pounds in Nashville and very proud of myself for it. And I guess it's going to be a slightly shadier version of Grady too. My nickname my whole life has been Shady Grady because we are talking about songs I hate by artists I love. We did the flip side a few months ago where we talked about songs that I loved from artists that I otherwise didn't like. But in this video, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite and your favorite artists. They just have a couple songs where you gotta admit it, like, I stan this person, but this one isn't it. It's kind of what we all had to do with Casey Musgrave's Star-Crossed last year, just kind of slowly back away and pretend that that didn't happen and just think of the good old days of pageant material. But yeah, I have some picks that I've chosen. I got a hell of a lot of submissions for stuff on Instagram, and we'll go through those too. And it's all in fun. Don't take this too seriously. Ultimately, these are artists I love. But first I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Keeps. 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of hair loss by the age of 35. And what's really great about Keeps is they offer research-backed treatments to help stop hair loss and improve hair growth. They make it super simple. You don't have to go into a doctor's office. You don't have to wait in a long line. You can do everything online. Keeps physicians will help you find the right treatment plan for you. And you don't even have to go to a pharmacy to pick anything up. Once you have your plan, everything is just shipped right to you. They've got all kinds of different stuff on their site. If you go there, they've got things to help stimulate hair growth, help prevent hair loss, but then they also have like thickening shampoos, and there's just a lot to check out. So whatever your hair goals are, and you might notice I'm trying to kind of grow out mine, Keeps has something to help you with those goals. Hair loss stops with Keeps. So to get 50% off your first order, you can go to keeps.com/GradySmith. That's KEEPS.com/GRADYSMITH. No W. That's what I always say. And thanks to them for sponsoring the video. All right, so let's talk about some songs that we kind of hate. I'm going to start with my picks, and I figure thinking of artists I love, no easier place to start than the artists behind me. Randy Travis, I will say, is absolved from this video. I got to meet him a couple weeks ago at the Grand Ole Opry, and it was one of the great joys of my life, so I ain't going to be shady to Mr. Randy today. However, Eric Church, I am going to be shady too. My least favorite Eric Church song is absolutely Higher Wire. Not only have I never really understood what this song is about, Eric Church is just like saying random little phrases like Benedictine baby, chartreuse snake oil lady. Like, I don't really get it, but I really just hate the sound of it. It feels so disjointed, and he's way up in his falsetto, which is not actually the strongest part of his voice at all. And then you get all these sort of whirring, like annoying. I just find the song annoying. I hate it. It's on Desperate Man, and it's easily my least favorite Eric Church song. Then we gotta talk about Miranda Lambert, who's on the Miranda veranda that often sits behind my head. Obviously one of my favorite artists ever, but she has a song that I've always had a huge distaste for. I feel like people think I'm gonna say Little Red Wagon or something that's more brassy, but no, it's freaking Smoking and Drinking, her song with Little Big Town. It was one of those times when a real good time felt like a long... I hate the vocals on this song. The weird decision to have them all just kind of sing at the same time in unison on the verses makes this song sound so lame. Nothing about it feels like you've got the dark energy of Smoking and Drinking. It feels like a Kids Bop production. Hanging with friends, going against our upbringing. Or like a Kumbaya moment where people are holding hands at church camp and singing in a circle. I really have a distaste, I think, for unison singing, unless it's like backing a big bar song or something, but they did that on the Highwomen record too, and I don't like that sound. Maybe they didn't want to single out one member of Little Big Town, because normally Karen is kind of the lead singer, but I think they should have just let her be the lead singer on this one. Or just let Miranda take the verses. I don't know. It just doesn't work. After that, I just made a list of some artists that I generally really love and tried to think of what song in their discography I don't like at all. And first on that list, because he's one of my favorite mainstream stars, is Dierks Bentley. My least favorite Dierks song is definitely Different for Girls. It's different for girls when their hearts get This song is a collaboration with Elle King, and I've never thought it sounds bad. I just have never thought it is aligned with reality. The idea of the song is that, like, when girls go through a breakup, they can't just drink it off and go party. They have it different. And I don't know, that's just never been how I have experienced life. It feels like it's a song that's written from the perspective of, like, 1950s Mad Men era, but maybe it's just because I live in Nashville now, but I certainly see giant drunken gaggles of girls that are like, you don't need him, and are willing to get totally snackered. Is that a word? Schnackered? Liquored up, drunk, hammered, smashed, whatever word you want to use. I don't know. That song's always annoyed me because I'm like, this is a false premise. Next on my list was Midland, because I've generally loved what they've put out, but there's a song on their most recent record called King of Saturday Night. It kind of hurts to do this one because I feel bad that, like, the other two guys other than Mark are almost never singing, but this is one where Cam takes the lead, and he's got like a little bit of a Tom Petty-ish voice, but I just do not think it sells the song, and I don't feel like the swagger in it, and I miss, like, the lovely tone of Mark's voice, just this kind of quieter, scratchy sound. It ruins the Midland vibe for me, and so yeah, that's definitely my least favorite one of their songs. Gosh, this video makes me feel bad. It's easier to trash stuff you don't like. I did write down Taylor Swift, even though she's more in the pop world than the country world, and she's got a few songs that I'm not super into. I mean, ones that just feel kind of juvenile to me, like You Need to Calm Down. Or like, I hate the vibe on Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince. I've never liked that song, but I think my least favorite is probably Bad Blood. Now we got bad blood. You know I just think that is like something about the way that melody falls just so ugly to me. Like, bad, now we got bad blood. Like, it's just so stupid. And since I'm talking about Taylor and I'm really into trolling the audience with always talking about Zach Bryan and Taylor at the same time, this is the shirt I wore to the show that I went to, my custom-made Zwifty merch. We should probably talk about Zach Bryan. Now, he didn't have any songs that I'm just like, ugh, I hate that song. When I was looking through stuff, I was like, well, what are the ones I typically like don't click on or play? And I wrote down High Beams. Come on, get in, baby, won't you try? That's one off his new album that I've never found myself really going back to very much. It's off Spotify now, but I think it was called Anita Part 2. That, and then there's another song in that same part of the Elizabeth album called like Hopefully. That whole section of the album, that would kind of be where it really dragged for me until you got to like A Boy Like You, and I love that song. She was meant for soaring and you were built for... Yeah, those would be the ones that, like, I don't hate them, but they're not my favorites. Next on my list was Luke Combs. I wrote down two different songs here, and again, I don't really hate them, but Dear Today on the What You See Is What You Get album. Dear Today, tomorrow here. I just don't like that kind of switch up in the production that they do where half the song feels like a demo and half of it feels completed. That's always annoyed me. But the main one of Luke's that I just truly don't like that much is Hurricane. Then you rolled in with your hair in the wind, baby. Like, the song that blew him up, that is definitely my least favorite of his songs. It just, to me, is like the most boring melody, and I don't get what I'm missing when everyone else hears something with it. Like, when Luke Combs was blowing up, I was sitting there so confused, like, what is this guy doing different than anyone else on the radio? And it wasn't until When It Rains It Pours came along that I sort of got it, where I was like, oh, he is doing something different than everyone else. But yeah, I've always just found Hurricane like plodding and slow and loud, and just it has that radio feel about it that if I had to imagine it as a color, it's like kind of like grayish blue, sad electric guitar line. Yeah, I'm a Hurricane hater, but a Luke lover. John Party was on my list, but I could not think of one. I really couldn't. Hardy was on my list, and I would just say like all of Hicks Tape 2. And I already mentioned Star-Crossed. That was mine for Casey. And then I was like, well, wait a second. I haven't mentioned Lori McKenna. Does Lori McKenna have a song that I hate? I've often called her the queen of the channel. She's one of my very favorite songwriters ever. I've not ever liked the song Happy People that much. Happy people don't hate. I feel like everyone's recorded it. I've always just felt that song is kind of pat and a little bit like lame and just sort of a platitude of, you know, do what you want and whatever makes you happy, people. And like the song isn't quite happy enough feeling to really be about happiness. I don't know. That song's just never worked for me. Give me somber Lori. Give me like her dad is dying, people get old Lori, or the balladeer, any of that stuff. That's like, you know, that's what I want. But enough about me. I asked y'all on Instagram for some of your picks of songs you hate by artists you love, so let's look at them. Of all of these, the most common answer by far was Morgan Wallen's Yin Yang Girl. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know what that song was. I guess it was very early days of Morgan Wallen, but yeah, it's not that good. Other than Morgan, I would say Eric Church is the person most mentioned, and people name a bunch of different ones of his songs, but I did notice like 4 or 5 different responses for the song Jenny. Come on, Jenny, let's go, Jenny. It's blowing this popcorn. Which is off his solo project, and it is kind of similar to Higher Wire in that it's like a little bit trying to go for this disjointed, funky thing, but he basically just says Jenny over and over and over and over again. Nick says Mama's Broken Heart, one of the worst songs I've ever heard. Go and fix your makeup, girl, it's just a breakup. That is a crazy, I think that's a crazy take, Nick. I think Mama's Broken Heart is one of the coolest songs ever. Just about the different kind of social behavior of a girl and her mother and how the mom expects her to act one way in a breakup. I find it so unusual and cool, and I actually think Miranda's version is better than Casey's version. Casey does this kind of low-key thing, but Miranda brings out the crazy in it. I love that. But hey, you don't. Emily Bell says Rolex on a Redneck by Brantley Gilbert. It can put a Rolex on a redneck. And yeah, and I definitely roasted that in some roundup earlier this year with its weird prosperity gospel vibes. Sarah says, I love Riley Green, but I hope she's drinking tonight is a messed up message. Yeah, I hope she's drinking tonight. She'll need a ride. And a bunch of people have said that. It's not dissimilar to how people said Cole Swindell's I Hope She Gets Lonely Tonight felt a little maybe just opportunistic. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, let's mix it up. You got my number. But yeah, maybe it's weird to be hoping that she's lonely and has drank way too much, so she'll hook up with you. Try like buying her flowers. Josh says Something About a Truck by Kip Moore. Something about a truck. In a farmer's field. That's interesting. I wonder if Kip would agree, because obviously it was his breakout single. It's what made him who he is, but his music is so different than that kind of a little bit more poppy country that he had on his first album. Although I've always thought that song is a jam, and just because it has truck in it, I feel like people make it seem dumber than it is, but I like that sequence of truck and a girl and a da 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 da. Like I think it's cool how you go in that sequence, almost like that song, tree in the hole in the ground, and the green grass grows all around. It's like a cool party version of that. Someone said Billy Currington and Details, and wow, I had already blocked out the crazy Billy Currington album from last year. I've seen 2 different entries for Put It On Ice. One was for Hardy and one was for Thomas Rhett. And yeah, that does have such a strange refrain of put it on ice, put it on ice. Like, it doesn't flow off the tongue well. Shannon says Friend Zone by Danielle Bradbury. Wow, have I talked about Friend Zone on the channel before? That song is wretched. Like that. You gotta step up to the plate with a bat. It is like the weirdest mashup of sports metaphors where, what does she say? It's so funny. Yeah, they basically mix like football and basketball and baseball all through the verses, and they're talking about you only get 3 strikes and there's seconds on the clock and you need a touchdown, but instead of getting to the end zone, she's putting you in the friend zone. But then she's also talking about coming up with a baseball bat, and it's like, it's truly such a badly written song. At one point she says, show her she's worth more than $3.99. And I've always wondered what that even means. Like, if you don't make it clear that you want to date instead of be friends and treat a girl to a nice ride in a fancy car, do girls just walk around reverting to this idea that they're only worth $3.99? Oh, and the breakdown where she's like, let me break it down to the facts. Wow, I hate Friend Zone. Friend Zone, let me break it down to the facts. It's like one of my iconic, least favorite country songs ever. I really had forgotten about it though, till right now. In the words of Danielle Bradbury. That's all I gotta say about that. Steven says Senorita by Jake Owen.
Yeah. Senorita, yes, I need you.
I like this one because it reminded me that Jake Owen featured Lele Pons, you know, the infamous Lele Pons of all people, as the Spanish singer on this song. And yeah, I don't like it either. But, you know, shout out to the big Lele Pons feature. Quite a few Tim McGraw fans have weighed in with Truck Yeah as their choice.
Let me hear you say, Truck Yeah, I wanna get it jacked up.
And man, I'm kicking myself now that I didn't put that in the freaking Florida Georgia Line and Bro Country video, because what a song that just epitomizes that moment in country music when everything had to be about trucks, and you had aging stars that were like, if I sing about trucks with over like a cheesy rock beat, are you gonna keep me on the radio? And it kind of worked for Tim, although it was not one of his biggest hits. But now I feel like people have a strange affection for it. But I think it's terrible. Hey Bales123 says, Kick the Dust Up by Luke Bryan. It's so stupid.
Into a party, pedal to the floor.
That's a good choice for a bad Luke Bryan song. People forget about that. That's the one where he's like, get the truck up. And whenever he performed it, he would like do this little hand thing.
Back it on up, that's what's up. Fill your cup up, back it on up, that's what's up. Let's kick the dust up.
It was obviously trying to kind of recreate That's My Kinda Night, but it had a strange vibe. Is that a song with sitar on it? Am I remembering this correctly? Anyway, it just didn't quite work. I'm seeing more for Truck Yeah, more for Something Bout a Truck, more for You Need to Calm Down by Taylor Swift, some for Put It on Ice. I mean, a lot of these are repeated, but I'm not kidding. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So if I didn't get to yours, I'm sorry. There's literally no way. But damn, there are some hot takes in here. Someone said All Yourn. I love the song All Yourn. That's a Tyler skip for you? No way. Someone else said Ever Loving Hand. I can kind of see that one, but I like both those as well. But anyway, I'd love to hear, what is a song that you hate by an artist that you love? Leave it in the comments down below, or you can weigh in on anything I said in this video or any of the comments down there too. Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring the video. Thanks to you guys for checking it out. Hit subscribe if you haven't. All my links are down below, my playlist, my merch, all the things. And I'll be back with more country content soon. Bye.